Hi, I'm Shoestring Jane. Welcome back to my channel. I thought today I would do a little kind of belated, if you like, because I've done a few videos now, introduction and explain why I choose to live a frugal lifestyle. So firstly, I should say I'm not a hobby frugalist. I see lots of people on YouTube and with blogs that talk about being frugal and what you should do to be frugal, but look like they live in a palace. So that's not the case with us. We live in a 3-bedroom, semi-detached ex-council house. We live really comfortably. We've got a nice house, but you know, we're not flashy in any way. So I just wanted to explain really why we started living this way. So initially, I'd say I didn't just choose to live frugally. I started living frugally because I had to. So I got divorced after 20 years of marriage. I had 3 daughters and I wasn't very good with money. I had to survive on a much reduced income and it was a bit of a shock to the system. I mean, I wasn't wealthy before, but you know, having 2 incomes as opposed to 1, although mine was part-time, is a lot easier than suddenly 1 part-time income, although I did get some child maintenance, to be fair. Fortunately, I've always been quite frugal in nature. I've never wanted to waste anything. I think that was drummed into me by my parents. You know, you don't waste anything. If you're given a meal, you eat all of your meal if you possibly can. I've always bought secondhand. I've always loved charity shops. I've always loved a bargain and boot sales. My parents did. They kind of were, if you've ever seen that old TV series Lovejoy, they were a bit like that. They loved rooting out antiques and collectibles and selling them at a small profit. And they did that as they hit their 50s and they kind of gave up working full time. And I think I'm kind of following in their footsteps because I do that as well. I've never been impressed by flashiness or ostentatiousness. I'm not that sort of person, you know. I don't think things like that are important. I don't need to impress anybody with how great my designer clothes are, or you know, that redecorate the house every 5 minutes, get new furniture, have a flashy car. I just don't need to do that. However, so although I've always been frugal by nature, I haven't always managed my money very well, to be perfectly honest. I never had a budget. I was frequently overdrawn. Well, probably I would say I was always overdrawn at one point in my life. And I never thought anything of like casual credit card debt or buying things on the never never. It just felt normal because, you know, other people did that and I did it too. And it never occurred to me that it might be an issue to have, even though it wasn't masses of debt, to have that debt if something was to happen. So, you know, like you get divorced or you lose your job or you become ill, those kind of things. It just never occurred to me. I just didn't manage my money very well at all. So I got divorced. I had a brief period of time where I was on my own, on a part-time income with some benefits, luckily, to help me along. I got a full-time job fairly quickly. I tried really hard to get a full-time job. I knew that was going to be the only way to manage, really. And things got a bit better. I met Justin, aka Mr. Shoestring, and obviously he helps me out as well. I did make a few massive mistakes in those first few years when I was trying to get myself together financially, like booking a holiday in Mallorca on credit cards, because I felt like me and the girls deserved it. You know, we've been through this tough time, we've been through this separation, we deserve a family holiday in Mallorca. And really it was nice and we all enjoyed it, but you know, family holiday in Yarmouth would probably have done the trick and been a lot less expensive, and I wouldn't have been paying it off a year later. I did Christmas on credit cards as well because I didn't save up in advance for it. So I got to Christmas and thought, oh, right, all went on the credit card, still paying that off several months later, which is really depressing, isn't it? So you get your income in, you think, well, I've got this much for the month, but actually no, several hundred of that has got to go to paying off your credit card bills. Another mistake was not doing a budget. And it took me a while to kind of realise that that was really essential and made a massive difference to how I managed my money. Having a budget, seeing exactly what had to go out each month, what things I could cut, and what I had to spend, what I had left over, and that kind of thing, just basic stuff. not having an emergency fund. For years I didn't have an emergency fund. I have a healthy emergency fund now, and I would really I'd never be without one, because I mean, obviously you have to spend it from time to time, but I've never had to spend it all, and I've always been able to build it up fairly quickly, luckily. So Shoestring Jane, that comes from my blog, shoestringcottage.com, which I started in I think it was about 2010, so shortly after I met Justin. And I started to get my finances together. As I say, I still made mistakes. It took me a while. I worked full time, as I say, and I did loads of side hustles. I taught yoga. I'm a trained yoga teacher. I did some freelance writing. Every time an election came up, I did election work. I still do that. Actually, I quite enjoy that. I started selling bits and pieces on eBay. And I did that for many years, and it did enable me to get things sorted out. So I did have an emergency fund, as I say, and I didn't have any debt, and I managed to get rid of all of that. But working that level was really exhausting. So having to still deal with the house and the kids, and after, you know, all the other things that you have to deal with, the sort of general admin of running a home after working full time and doing all these side hustles, was really exhausting. So although I was together financially, I did feel like the quality of life was lacking sometimes. I think I work all these hours, and you know, I don't have time. I just don't have time just to stand and stare, as the poem says. So I was fortunate really in 2019 to be offered voluntary redundancy at the place I'd worked at since my divorce for sort of 10-12 years, and I just jumped at it because I knew that we could manage. So I knew that I could live really frugally. I knew that we could live on a really small income. I got a very small redundancy package. I didn't get one of these massive redundancy packages. I worked for the local council. They don't give those out. But we had paid off our mortgage by then, luckily. And we had, as I say, we had no debts. We had a good cushion in case of emergencies. The kids had left home, so it was really just the two of us. So I was in a really fortunate position, and I do appreciate that I am really lucky to actually be able to say, yes, I can take a redundancy, and you know, I've got a house. That makes a big difference, and I can afford the bills, or we can afford the bills. So that was great, and that really improved the quality of my life. Having time just to do things that I enjoy doing, but also having time to do things that saved us money as well, like doing more DIY, mending, those kind of things, growing some of our own fruit and vegetables in the garden, and that kind of thing. You know, washing my own car, repairing clothes, finding secondhand bargains. All of those things do take time, and when you're working full time and doing lots of side hustles, they're an extra job to do, really. So, but now they feel more like a hobby. So that's really good. So we are lucky, and I do appreciate that we are lucky. So now I work for myself. I don't earn very much money, but I have more time to do the things that I enjoy, and I have a much better quality of life. But being frugal is an essential part of that. It's part of that plan. And I know that lots of people just could not live on what we live on. They just wouldn't be able to do it, because their expectations of what they need to get through the month are really different to mine and Justin's. I mean, we live way below what's considered the median in the UK. I think I read on Google that the median wage for the UK is £31,000, which I've never earned in my life, and I'm nowhere near earning that now. But we have enough of everything, so we can pay our bills, we are warm, we have clothing, we have good nourishing food, we can do stuff, we see each other, but we see friends, obviously we see each other, we see friends, we can do stuff, we don't feel deprived of anything. So we are really lucky. We own our own home, and we're in good health, so we can do what we want to do. So we cook, we enjoy simple pleasures, so we like a walk along the beach or in the woods with the dog, a glass of wine by the fire, meeting friends, seeing family. We enjoy sourcing secondhand bargains and getting freebies sometimes. We make do and mend, and we get by very well. So as I say, I don't feel deprived. I'd rather live this way than have a huge house, a fancy car, loads of foreign holidays, designer clothing, but work really long hours, be exhausted and have a mountain of debt to show for it all. I would much rather live like this. So that's just it in a nutshell. That's me and Justin, my partner in frugality. I hope you enjoyed this little intro to me and why I'm frugal. So if you did, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up and like this video. Subscribe to the channel because there'll be more videos to come. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you know when I've posted something new. And in the meantime, you can come and see me on my blog, shoestringcottage.com. I have a Facebook page, which is a really great little community of frugal-minded people and people who like buying secondhand. It's called My Secondhand and Frugal Life. I'll leave links below. And you can find me on Instagram as well at Shoestring Cottage. As I say, I'll leave links to all of those below. Thanks for joining me and I'll see you next time. Bye.